Welcome to today's meeting of the Holistic Growth Club for Entrepreneurs. I'm joined today by my confidant and colleague, Kara the Cat, and all of her accompanying wisdom. I am also joined by the voice of Kara the Cat, my colleague, entrepreneur, author, coach, generally fabulous person, Christine Allison. Hi, Christine.
Hi, thank you.
I am also joined by a very, very special guest for today's club meeting, Otakara Kletke. Say hi, Otakara.
Hello, so happy to be here.
Wonderful to have you. As we begin our meeting of the Holistic Growth Club, I am going to invite you together with me and all of our listeners out there in Groovy Growth Club land to join me in the Growth Nick statement. Ready, folks? Here we go. Every day, I'm thankful for the love that made me and gave me the gift of life. I ask that love to teach me to love myself and others. I ask that love to lead me and help me be honest with myself. I ask that love to help me establish healthy mental and physical habits. I ask that love to loosen the principle of abundant life within me so that others may be touched by love through my life. Thank you, my friends. I want to start forthwith by introducing our special guest today, Otakara Kletke. Let me give you a little bit of an introduction to this very winsome and effective entrepreneur. I first met Otakara through the self-publishing school website, and I saw that she was preparing a book which I was anxious to read. She is a native of the Czech Republic. She wrote this book in a second language, and it's become a bestseller. I'm going to have a chance to explore a little bit more of Otakara's personal life in our interview, but I just wanted to let you know that you are in for a treat today. Otakara is a very special person, a special mom, a wonderful author, a successful entrepreneur, so she meets and exceeds the requirements for special guests here on the Holistic Growth Club. Welcome, Otakara. How wonderful to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Gordon. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for such a beautiful introduction. I didn't even know I'm so special.
You certainly are to us, and I know soon you will be to all Holistic Growth Club listeners. First of all, let me start years ago. Upon reading your book, Otakara, I got the sense that as a child, you were just a little curious, precocious, into everything, wanting to understand the whole world around you. Am I getting that correct? Did I?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely was a curious. I think I'm still am. I'm still interested into everything what I call, I'm interested in everything what is interesting. So every interesting subject there is, I want to know more about it.
Uh-huh. Now, did Sophia get some of that from you?
My daughter, for sure, I try, I hope so. But I think it's a nature of, any child. And I more feel that sometimes, unfortunately, grown-ups or the world, surrounding world takes it away. But I think it's within every human being. It's within every one of us when we're growing up, when we're little, that we really want to know more and we want to be better or curious about something, or at least find like one subject with me. It just happens to be that like I find like when I find a subject interesting, I get to learn about all kinds of different ones.
Wonderful. When you were growing up, did you ever think you'd be living in the United States publishing a best-selling book?
Well, if I break this in two sections, then I never thought I would be living in the United States when I was growing up. It was still, until I was 13 years old, it was still communism in my country. So even the thought of actually visiting United States was pretty, out of the dreamland, that was not really out there. Did I think whether I'm going to be an author? Yes. That was my first job I ever wanted to be. When I was a child, all I wanted to do was write and illustrate my own books. So the truth is that it took me 40 years to become an author. That's the thing, that it had to like take my life to go and try other avenues in life, to go back to the basics, to be what you like. If you would ask me what was my very first job, I remember that when I was a little kid, as far as I remember who I wanted to be an author. So if you'd ask me if I was 5 years old, would I think I would be a best-selling author? I would probably say yes.
Wonderful. This was in your heart all along.
So,
okay. Give us an example of how your natural curiosity has opened doors for you.
oh, do you mean with the book or generally about anything?
Yes. Both.
The book itself has definitely opened up many doors because I wanted to share something that was partially my own personal story through my life. Because when I was a child, I was sick a lot. I was ill child a lot. So I spent a lot of my childhood pretty much in bed, which at the time was, hi Kira. At the time was, there was really nothing much to do. There was no computer games. There was really nothing on TV, and then communism, it was our two channels. So I spent my time reading. So I read pretty much everything I could, everything that has letters. It didn't matter what was it. So I became this voracious reader, and I read fast, and I would read like, at the point when I was, if I would be laying home sick with something, I would be reading one book per day. So at some point you just end up reading pretty much anything you come along to. And I was lucky because both of my parents loved books, and I was blessed growing up around people. My older brother became an author, so I was raised around people who just loved books. So I was surrounded by it. My mom said that books make the best wall insulation, so our walls were covered by books. And so eventually when I wrote a book, and that was a lot of that curiosity actually led into helping me to heal myself. That's what the book is about, because I made a huge research into it, and I was my own guinea pig. And then it helped me to write a book. So just the fact that I was reading so much and looking into things got me into writing the book, and definitely keeps me into wanting to write and publish more books. And of course, my curiosity led me to actually travel around the world. That was the other thing that I became later on, once we could travel and weren't so bound anymore. So once I hit 18 and I got my own passport and my parents couldn't tell me no, I was out. So my natural curiosity led me to about, I don't know, like 35 countries to travel around the world.
So this book is a testament to the courage and the overcoming you've had through life.
You can put it that way, yes. It was definitely something that was inside me that wanted to come out.
Wonderful. Something was inside you, and it just had to come out. Okay. You've got a beautiful family, Otakara, and you live in a beautiful ranch. Is it Montana?
It's Oregon.
Oregon. Please forgive me. And people can see a little bit of the marvelous wood construction in back of you. What does your family think of you being a best-selling author?
Um, I'm just a mom. I'm a wife, so I don't think my daughter. She's definitely super proud, and
Mm.
I'm about to release the next book, the second book, which is completely different. My first book was a nonfiction for adults, and the book I'm just about to launch, hopefully within the next months, it's a children's book. So my daughter's super happy because she got to be my beta reader, and she's gonna be in the book written as the beta reader. So she is super stoked. Of course, my husband is proud. He's happy for me. He's supportive. So, but to day life, I'm just a mom. I homeschool my daughter. I'm a wife. I don't really think of myself um, as the author being something else than any other person. Who we all have jobs, and they are equally important if they serve others.
Of course. Now, not only, Otakara, are you a best-selling author, you did this in a second language, which is not easy to do. You know, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, authors to be out there. In fact, I've read that up to 80% of folks out there in the world want to write a book. Very few of them ever will. What happened with you, Otakara? Out of what depths did the decision come, I'm going to be an author. I am going to make my dreams come true?
I love that question. That's a very good question, because that question, actually, I have a very real answer for it. I moved to United States in 2002, 2001, 2002. I used to come here I used to spend here about 3 months out of a year. So I was already on my traveling, thing. So it's not that I came here and moved and stayed. I used to spend here years prior, be here 2-3 months out of a year. But that's when I moved here and I stayed. And even before, when I was in Czech, I worked as a journalist for a while. I worked on TV. So I was somewhat connecting to not writing necessarily, but I was connected to a word. And I traveled and I was connected to other languages. And that's where I will always say, like, I know quite a bit about a lot of things, but I don't know much about something like too deep. And the only thing I always said, like, was the language. And then I left my country and I did not have my language where I felt strong. And so I was here for 15 years almost. And so I gave up on writing because I felt, the Czech was too far, and you kind of like stop doing. And like I mentioned earlier, to be an author and write a book was the first thing I ever wanted to do. And I realized at that point of my life that if I wasn't doing what was making me happy, I was burying my soul. So the depth, what it took was to just give my own self a permission. I gave myself a permission to suck. I said, it doesn't matter. I'm not writing the book to be a best-selling book. I'm not writing the book to be anything. I'm just writing the book because that was the one thing that was keeping my soul alive. And if you don't do what you should do, what you meant to do in your life, then your soul starts dying. And I didn't want to end up on a Prozac or anything, or drinking or something else. It was the writing. It was to start writing that actually started to bring me back out, and just to decide, okay, so it doesn't matter. So it's in English. I will find an editress and hopefully I will make it. And first time I brought my book to a critique group, my first critique was that I torment English language. So that was the first critique I ever got on my manuscript, on my absolutely raw manuscript. So I felt like right on my face. And out of that, I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this person thinks that I torment English language, because I'm writing because I need to write, and it's in my soul, and I need to do it. And so that's what took it. I just knew that if I won't do what I should do, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. My goal was not to make a bunch of money. My goal was not to, to super succeed with the book. My goal was just to make the book happen. And that was all I was going for.
Marvelous. What a testament. That's exactly what we're interested in the Holistic Growth Club, being who we are and letting those forces of life come out. Thank you for sharing that, Ottokara. Now, Ottokara, I know that you do not reject standard medicine out of practice, but somewhere you ended up being very open-minded and willing to investigate natural healing, the power of organic nutrition, self-healing, and so on. And you've had quite a healing journey. Can you share with us a little bit about how this process has affected your life? Can you tell us a little bit about the biome, which you discuss in your book, and how it's helped bring healing to your life?
I'm definitely in all understanding and for going to doctor, especially if you make a mechanical issue with your body, like if you break your hand or there is something that is actually like wrong with the physicality of the body. But once something gets out of balance and the body starts to, and that was mostly my issues. I never had anything broken, thankfully, but I had organs malfunctioning and problems like that. So, if your lovely cat Kara broke a paw, you got to take her to the vet, right?
Yes.
But if there would be but if you start giving her bad food and she's going to have a diarrhea or something out of it, starts throwing up, then it would be up to the food for you to change. Then like going to the vet would start giving her medication, but that would offset the balance somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And I can ask the little kitty, won't like it, huh? Wouldn't like the vet's visit. So because I had a lot of problems with my organs and I had a malfunctioning liver, I had bad lungs and bronchial I had bronchitis, repeating bronchitis all the time. So they were things that just weren't functioning. And to me, I was since the 5th grade, I was on an extremely strict diet because of my liver. And so I've learned very young how fast my body reacts to food, and it was on a pretty extreme level. And during the time when like there was like nobody who had a condition like me, so it was nobody around me had it, and the consequences of me to having tiny bit of something wrong was fast and very severe. So my parents never had to worry about of me like cheating on a diet because like I knew I couldn't do it myself. And eventually once I learn stuff and you start to work with your body just because of that, because you really don't have other options. I mean, if I was eating something wrong, I would start throwing up to the point that I would faint. So you don't want to end up that way. So I had to kind of understand how my physical activity affects me, how eating affects me. And then later I've learned that pretty much our bodies, as much as we have the big cells, 90% of the cells of you, what I see there, of me, it's actually not human cells. 90% of cells are bacterial or other microorganisms on us. So all we are as a human body is just one giant farm to me. And that's pretty much how I set it up in a book. So I separate our consciousness and ourselves, not just consciousness, into two separate beings. And one is actually the human cells, which is us. And the 90% of us that, the cells that outnumber us 10 times are these microbiome cells. And these are the guys that help us. And if we help them to have a good life, then they are the ones who take care of us. They are the ones who extract our vitamins. They are the ones who heal your body. They are the ones who actually make the antibodies. It's not your body. Without them, your body cannot function. Your body cannot, cannot create a vitamin A out of provitamin A. So to me, it was important to try to show this in a book. And also for many people who have a hard time to love their own body. And this is a very big message in my book. It's important to be able to love yourself. And it's something that it's really told a lot lately. So you hear it from all angles. And self-love to some level, like it's easy to say, and in a way it's hard to practice. But if I try to put that you actually, your self-love, it's not loving yourself, it's the loving the farm that's taking care of you. It's always much easier for a parent to love a child. You're gonna give much more to your child. So the moment you change the perspective and you actually realize, I'm not even asking you to love yourself, I'm asking you to love that farm. I'm asking you to be a good farmer and take good care of these, of these 100 trillion of organisms that live inside you, that take care of you. And that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to even, to worry about yourself, since it's so hard to practice, but love these guys and do the best, what's best for them. And the moment you start approaching your body this way, it all shifts and your body shifts. And the way how you eat, think, and do shifts, because you're no longer thinking about yourself. You're thinking about these guys who are thinking about you, who in return love you, because, how many times we give up on them.
Beautiful.
But how many times did they give up on us? They never give up on us, ever in life.
Otakara, you are sharing some beautiful things. I am receiving some notification that we have maybe 2 or 3 minutes left in this recording. We may have to do part 2 of this interview, either after I shut this recording down or sometime in the future. Can you join us in another meeting after this, or do you have to go?
I can join you still.
How about you, Christine?
No.
Okay.
No.
We're going to include you, I promise.
I have actually someone who is going to be coming here. Once I get them up and going, then I'm good to go. But I don't know the exact time they're coming. So they're going to be cleaning my deck. So I'm expecting them within 20 minutes or so. But after that, I should probably be able to.
Okay.
But I have to tell you, Kara the kitty has been whispering in my ear and wants to give you a message, Otakara. And here's what the kitty has to say. When we learn to see things as they really are, not as we imagine they are, this is what you are teaching in your book. And I want to say thank you.
Oh, how beautiful. Thank you, Kara.
I will be in touch with both of you, and we'll do some editing there to see if maybe within an hour or 2 hours you could do part 2 of the interview in the meeting.
I have to pick up my daughter in I gotta leave in hour and a half the latest. So I have about hour and a half right now. Then I have to get
if in 45 minutes, would it be good for folks?
Yeah, here's what I'm thinking, Gordon. Let me go off video. I'm going to stay on the show. Let me go off video. You can edit, of course, all of this stuff out. And then that way, I can come in as Kara. I can come in as myself. Otakara, you were just getting to the juice, and I thought that's awesome. But Zoom is telling us we only have a minute left. So, Gordon, if you want to set up another meeting. Go ahead and set it up in like 5 minutes from now. And then I'm going to text and handle things here. And then I'll just go off video when that person arrives. And then that way we can continue, if that works for everybody.
Okay.
Okay. I'll start a new meeting.
Okay. Email us the details, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
he has to start
You're
another-
doing wonderfully, Otakar.
You're doing
Thank you.
beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk
Okay.
soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.